Hi there, my name is Fiona, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to talk you through the process of making some Irish brown homemade bread. I make this recipe at least once a week and I have done so for the past 5 years. It's really easy once you get the hang of it. And so many people say how they just love this freshly made homemade brown bread. So I just thought I'd share the process with you here today. So here in front of me, I have all the equipment that I use and all the ingredients. So basically, the main equipment that you'll need is 2 kind of loaf tins, because it's a double recipe. It makes 2 loaves, which is always good. If you have any spare, if like you can always cut up and freeze the second loaf if you're not going to use it straight away, and it's really nice toasted straight from frozen. So two basic loaf tins like this. I have them lined with grease-proof paper. You could also just put butter in them so it doesn't stick instead. I just have my weighing scales, my kitchen machine, which comes with the bowl and sieve, and then just a measuring jug for the wet ingredients. And that's all the equipment I need. Now, when I started making this, I didn't use a kitchen machine at all. I just hand mixed it with a wooden spoon and it came out perfectly fine. So just as the years went by, I decided to get a machine and it just speeds up the process a little bit. So the main ingredients for the homemade brown bread is the flour. Obviously, I use spelt flour and I use a mixture of plain or white spelt flour and also wholemeal spelt flour. I feel it just gives it a bit of extra nutrients and it's really delicious. Then I have my oats, the sunflower seeds, pumpkin seeds. I have oat bran, some brown sugar, some milled flax seeds, salt, bread soda, and sesame seeds. Now they're all the dry ingredients, and then the wet ingredients is just 4 things: buttermilk, olive oil, Blackstrap Molasses, and finally 1 egg, which I'll grab when I'm going to use it. I just don't want to leave it on the counter to roll off. It's happened before. Step 1, I just turn on my weighing scales. It's a digital one, but you can use whatever one you have at home. And I just set it to grams and kilograms. And then taking my bowl, just reset it back to 0 once the bowl is on it. It's really important, so you're not weighing the bowl as well. And then I just get my plain white spelt flour and I measure out 375 grams of white spelt and I sift it into the bowl. Okay. Next is the wholemeal spelt flour, and this doesn't need to be sifted, so just 250 grams. Okay, so at this point I'm going to turn on the oven so it can heat up while I'm doing the rest of the ingredients. The oven needs to be set at 180, and I usually set it for an hour, but cooking it for about 50 minutes. Okay. Next I'm going to put in the oats, the porridge oats, and I do 120 grams of these. There we go. Next, oat bran. I do 80 grams of this. Now you can also use wheat germ here instead. I just use whatever I have usually. It just kind of gives it an extra bit of nutrients. The milled flaxseed comes next, and that's 40 grams. Now, for the bread soda, I just do 20 grams, which is about 1 tablespoon. I tend to sift the bread soda just because in case there's any little lumps in it or anything, you don't want to bite into that with your lovely brown bread. The same for the sugar, so it's brown sugar and it's also 20 grams. Sunflower seeds, 20 grams, or just a handful is what I usually do. It's usually a little bit more than 20 grams. Same for the pumpkin seeds, about 20 grams. And then finally, for the final dry ingredients is a pinch of salt. So that's the dry ingredients ready to go. Put it to one side. So for the wet ingredients, the first thing I do is just crack an egg in and mix it a little bit. Then I grab my buttermilk and I measure about 800 milliliters of buttermilk. Usually good to give it a bit of a shake first. Then I grab my olive oil and I do 1 tablespoon of olive oil. And then 1 tablespoon of my Blackstrap Molasses. So now it's just a case of pouring the wet ingredients into the dry ingredients and then putting it into the kitchen machine and mixing it just for a few minutes. I just use the bread handle, the kneading handle for this one. So I'll just get that ready. Now the Blackstrap molasses can be a little bit sticky, so I just have to get it from the bottom of the jug. Into the machine. I usually just start off at a kind of a low speed and then gradually as it mixes go a little bit higher. Okay, that looks good. It's not fully mixed at the sides, so I usually just get a spatula and grab those any little bits that weren't fully mixed. So as you can see here, the mixture is quite wet. That's good. And then all is left is just to pour it into the loaf tins. Then I just smooth out the tops, making sure it's even. And then finally, just before it goes in the oven, I just mark it down the middle with a knife on either side, or on either loaf even. And that's just to help it with the break, that it's an even break in the middle as it rises. And then on top, I sprinkle, I really like sesame seeds, but you could put whatever you like. You could put sunflower or pumpkin seeds, or even oats if you like. Just like the toasted sesame flavor personally. And there we have it, it's ready to go in the oven. I like to bake it for about 50 minutes, but it might depend on your oven. When I lived in my previous house, I used to bake it for an hour, so you just kind of have to test it out and see what works best for your particular oven. So just put it in and that's it. So then after you've taken them out, make sure they go straight onto a wire rack for cooling. And then I'd say you'd want to wait about 20 to 30 minutes to let it cool before you actually cut the bread. So the bread has cooled down sufficiently. I'm just going to take off the greaseproof paper and cut it to get ready to eat it. Lots of lovely sesame seeds there going flying about the place. Okay, so there you have the delicious homemade brown Irish bread. I hope you've enjoyed watching this video and you might get some inspiration for making it yourself. Please remember to give this video a like if you've enjoyed it, and please subscribe to my channel to get some more content on parenting, including some food and pregnancy, birth and yoga as well. So thank you so much for watching, and see you next time.